For more than a century, the Mongols had connected much of Eurasia through a vast network of trade, communication, and conquest. Merchants crossed continents, ideas moved between civilizations, and Silk Road cities flourished across an interconnected world. But what happens when the system holding it all together begins to break apart? The answer would reshape Eurasia and set the stage for a new global age. The Mongol Empire had connected much of Eurasia, but its vast size made lasting unity difficult. As generations passed, rival rulers pursued their own interests, regional identities grew stronger, and the empire gradually fragmented into competing states. In China, the Yuan dynasty faced rebellion, economic strain, and declining authority. In 1368, the Ming dynasty seized power, ending nearly a century of Mongol rule in China. Across Eurasia, the age of Mongol unity was coming to an end. Yet fragmentation created something else, a vacuum of power across the heart of the Silk Road. And into that vacuum stepped a new conqueror. As the Chagatai realm fragmented, Central Asia became divided among competing rulers. Control of trade routes weakened, alliances shifted, and no single power dominated the region. From this world emerged Timur, a leader from the Turkic-speaking Barlas tribe of Central Asia, a community shaped by centuries of interaction between Turkic and Mongol peoples. Although he was not a direct descendant of Genghis Khan, he drew upon the political traditions of the Mongol world while building his own empire from Samarkand. Over the following decades, Timur built an empire stretching across Central Asia, Persia, Afghanistan, Mesopotamia, and parts of India and Anatolia. The wealth flowing through his domains transformed Samarkand and Herat into two of the greatest cultural centers of their age. Scholars, architects, astronomers, poets, and artists gathered there from across Eurasia, turning Silk Road cities once again into centers of learning, science, and artistic achievement. Yet Timur's empire faced the same challenge that had confronted the Mongols. It depended heavily on the strength of a single ruler. When Timur died in 1405, his empire gradually fragmented. As Timurid authority weakened, rising Uzbek rulers took control of much of Transoxiana. Among the princes displaced by these struggles was Babur. No single empire would replace the Mongols. Instead, several powerful states emerged across the old Silk Road world. In the west, the Ottoman Empire emerged from the Turkic frontier states of Anatolia and expanded across southeastern Europe and the eastern Mediterranean. In 1453, Ottoman cannon artillery breached the walls of Constantinople, ending the Byzantine Empire and securing a vital crossroads between Europe and Asia. In Iran, the Safavid Empire emerged from a religious movement led by Shah Ismail. Drawing support from Turkic-speaking followers, the Safavids reunited much of the Iranian plateau and established Twelver Shi'ism as the state religion, helping shape the region's political and religious identity for centuries. Further east, Babur, a Timurid prince descended from Timur and connected to the lineage of Genghis Khan through his mother's family, lost much of his Central Asian homeland to the rising Uzbeks. Turning south through Kabul, he entered northern India, and after his victory at Panipat in 1526, laid the foundations of the Mughal Empire. Over time, the Ottomans, Safavids, and Mughals became some of the most powerful states in the world. Historians often call them the Gunpowder Empires because artillery and firearms became important tools of increasingly centralized states. As military power changed, so too did the balance of trade. For generations, merchants crossed Central Asia and the Middle East, carrying goods, technologies, and ideas between distant civilizations. The profits of this trade attracted growing interest from Europe, whose rulers sought more direct access to the markets of Asia. Portuguese navigators sailed around Africa. Spanish expeditions crossed the Atlantic. In 1498, Vasco da Gama reached India by sea. Sea trade had existed for centuries, especially across the Indian Ocean. But European access to these networks created a new phase of competition between maritime routes and the traditional overland corridors of Eurasia. The change was gradual. Caravans still crossed deserts. Cities such as Samarkand, Bukhara, Herat, Tabriz, and Beijing remained important centers of exchange. But a shift had begun. The flow of global commerce was slowly moving away from the interior of Eurasia and toward the oceans. The fragmentation of the Mongol world did not end Eurasian connections. It transformed them. The Timurids revived Central Asia. The Ottomans, Safavids, and Mughals built powerful new states. Gunpowder reshaped warfare. Maritime exploration opened new routes across the globe. The Silk Road remained important, but the balance of global exchange was slowly shifting from the heart of Eurasia toward the seas. A new chapter in the human story had begun.